What's up, everybody? Rob Ferretti here, and I have a Bobby Kahn update. Now, Bobby Kahn, if you remember, we'll rewind just a minute, and he was a car dealer up in Ramsey, New Jersey, that ended up skipping the country because he was afraid of, let's just say, wrongful prosecution, or what he felt was wrongful prosecution. Flew over to the United Arab Emirates, stayed there for a couple of years. Then he tried to get back in when he was on the FBI's most wanted list, and it was just possibly one of the most frustrating and maddening processes I've ever seen in my life, to have a guy who's wanted by the FBI and walking into the U.S. Embassy saying here I am, let's make this happen. That didn't happen, but it made for some colorful videos on Instagram. The real Bobby Kahn popped up on Instagram and was sort of throwing jabs at that small attorney general or something like that, Andrew Keegan. He had this good guy, bad guy fight going on. But fast forward, Bobby Kahn was pleading his innocence, or at least saying that he wanted his day in court. Ultimately, he was able to arrange his arrest and come back. Came back, was put in Bergen County Jail for, I don't know for how long, but then next thing you know, boom, COVID hit. So they were kicking this thing down the road. And finally, I've had no updates. I haven't seen any updates. Got my news alert, and there's an update. And the update is, and I'll tell you, Afzal Khan is his name, also known as Bobby Kahn, pleaded guilty by video conference before U.S. District Judge William J. Martini. That's one martini you don't want. To an indictment charging him with wire fraud, according to U.S. News, blah, blah, blah. And according to U.S. Attorney Craig Carpenito or whatever. It was Andrew Keegan when I first read this story. Now it's Craig, whatever his name is, which is weird that they changed that, but whatever. I'm not going to get into the back and forth headbutting that they seem to have been doing. The release dates that from at least December 2013 to September 2014, Kahn, through his Ramsey-based dealership, Emporio Motor Group, engaged in acts to defraud customers and lenders. He obtained loans from, this is what his statement would have been, by the way. This is him going before the court because he pled guilty. This is him admitting guilt to these charges. Kahn obtained loans from auto finance divisions of large banks that he never delivered, but for which the purchaser was still responsible. He obtained loans from the bank for cars that were delivered, but for which neither he nor Emporio had the title. That was mine, or one of mine. As a result, the purchaser of the cars were liable for the loans, but could not register the cars. That's a whole nother story. It's nice that this is progressing. We'll get into how this affects me soon. Kahn admitted that his actions cost the bank at least $550,000. He faces a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and $250,000 in fines, or twice the gain or loss from the offense. Sentencing is scheduled for December 17th. Blah, 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 blah. So, all of this, after this whole big $5 million fraud and everything like that, you get the standard white-collar one count of wire fraud. Now, I don't know the specifics. I'm to pretend like I've been following this that closely would be an absolute lie. But wire fraud seems to be that all right, you stole a lot of money. Wire fraud's easy to prove. Now, do I think Bobby Kahn has done nothing wrong? No, he's probably done something wrong, whether it's signing a contract for somebody, post-dating something, pre-dating something, selling a car that he shouldn't have sold because he didn't have the title for it. Whatever he did, he probably did something wrong, and maybe a couple of somethings. That just seems to be what happens in the used car dealer world. Now, the question is, was that enough to say the guy was leading this $5 million Ponzi scheme? No, I don't think that was the case. I think this is ultimately the happy medium. Throw a bunch of stuff at the guy, say it's going to be super expensive for you to litigate this, and the common plea is always one count of wire fraud. Now, wire fraud always comes with a potential 20-year sentence, but it always ends up being 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 years in Otisville up in New York, or some minimum security white-collar prison. That's where the situation went. That's where all these Trump's guys go to these prisons. And it's just a whole bunch of like white collar criminals going and playing tennis together. It's really not it's not a hard sell to a guy who's not going to end up in a federal prison because the crime is pretty silly. And then they go in, they come out in a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever it is. It's really a slap on the wrist. So that was not surprising to me to see that. Like, I saw that as a possible outcome. I didn't know. I thought he was going to go fight it. He was like, this guy, they have no evidence. I've got all the evidence. So I didn't see how this was happening. I didn't see the back and forth. His attorney obviously advised him that this is probably a smart move, and I don't doubt it. When you fight your charges to prove your innocence or to just say, like, look, I think a lot of what I'm being accused of is wrong. When you fight, they usually, for some reason, they get like a vendetta and they go after you for that. I don't know why, but this is an easy play. It's a smart play. And he's already been in jail for, I don't know, at least throughout COVID, so maybe a third of his sentence or a fifth of his sentence. Now, he hasn't been sentenced yet, but come December 17th, I guarantee, well, I'll give you an update. I guarantee his sentence will probably be 4 to 5 years, right? This isn't even a lot. I know a guy who did wire fraud or pled guilty to wire fraud for like a $9 million fraud, and he got 4 or 5 years. So at the end of the day, they'll probably be in jail together. That'll be quite comical. But at the end of the day, this whole thing, actually, Otisville's in New York prison. I don't know where the New Jersey prisons are. Whatever it is, this is pretty predictable to me. I guess it's good that they just pulled the Band-Aid off, got this done. And the fact that he's sitting in jail anyway is like, look, if I'm going to be in jail throughout this whole COVID thing, I'm not even going to get a trial. And this is a very real possibility. He's not even going to get a trial for 2 years or 3 years, whatever this delay ends up being. He could end up serving the whole sentence anyway. So why not just plead guilty to it, get it out of the way? Because as I said, I'm sure he did something wrong. And whatever he did wrong, maybe it's like, all right, well, if you do this, this, and this, we're going to add that up, that up, that up. That's 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. That's 6 years. You go in, you're going to get, on your first offense, you have a clean, I don't know if he has a clean record outside of that, but you're going to get a couple of years. You're already going to be here. Even if you go that route, you're going to serve the same amount of time. Just do it and be done with it. So that is the Bobby Kahn update. And in other scoffalaw news, you have the new record holder again for the Cannonball Run. Arnie Toman, who set the record like 4 people ago, now went and reset the record again because he didn't like that he got beat by somebody else a week after he did it, blah, 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 blah. Now he did like 25 hours and 29 minutes or something in that range, which is fast. It's like 20 minutes faster than the previous guys. It's 110 mile an hour average across the country. That's pretty crazy. And the fact that they're coming out and just saying like, yep, here it is, here's all my evidence, legitimately like the week after they're doing it, is just astounding to me. And it really puts into perspective Alex Roy's record of 31:04, which he's like, don't even attempt it. You're not going to beat this. Spotter planes, more technology in the car than most fighter jets. And now he's been beat by almost 6 hours. That's just showing you how fast they're actually going, and how like every guy that goes out and beats it is really just pushing the goal line. As we said, they keep pushing the goal line a little bit because they have a goal line to go after. Alex had a goal line of like 32 hours or 33 hours, whatever it was, and it was easy to just be like, all we got to do is this, stay under the radar, not get pulled over. I still don't know if Arnie did the whole absolute rage mode across the country. I don't think anyone's done that method yet. I think the proper play, and I think Arnie may have deployed this, is having spotter cars along each segment. So you get fresh drivers, fresh eyes, and you're raging straight through, and you've got guys sort of spotting for you along the way and moving in front of you. They're probably going to get a ticket before you will. So congratulations to him. It's amazing that they can keep doing this and nobody cares, and I'm not saying somebody should care. I'm just saying it's actually amazing to watch this. So Rob Ferretti's criminal summary of the day. Bobby Kahn update, December 17th. We'll see what happens. I mean, he's going to be serving at least a year, which he'll probably have served by the time December 17th rolls around. But that will be the sentencing, and I'll bring it to you, and that'll wrap up that story, that whole saga. The funny part about all this is I feel like that will end up being like a TV movie or something, or a Vice Media, or a Netflix show at the end of all of this. And I know you can't profit from your crimes. I think that was the whole OJ thing. But I think somebody else could sell the documentary. His wife, who wasn't involved in the crime, could sell it. And ultimately, he could end up reaping a reward and obviously paying back his $250,000 fine from all of this. And where does this bring into me? I think now that he's pled guilty, he can now introduce, and I got to reach out to his attorney. I don't know who it is, but if his attorney's out there, shoot me an email, rob@superspeeders.com. Can reach out to his attorney and see if he can introduce new evidence so I can prove that that guy who took the car from me and got the car from me, we can prove that he lied. And then new evidence allows you to open up the case. There's no statute of limitations when you got new evidence, and that would be awesome. I will keep you in the loop as to that. That would make me very happy because I don't like getting screwed by people. And I seem to get screwed by a lot of people, but I don't like getting screwed by people. And when I have evidence to prove that they're lying and they're not just hiding behind lawyers, that is the best possible thing ever. Stay tuned. I'll let you know where that goes. So you guys are familiar with my other company, Adventure Drives, right? Well, we're going to be going to Scotland in October. We're going to be doing Scotch distilleries, playing golf at St. Andrews if you want to do that, walking around, seeing lakes, waterfalls, driving the North Coast. It's going to be an amazing trip. Prices start as low as $2,500 per person for the shorter trip in Scotland. If you're interested in going, check out the link in the description.